Hey, you tourists, it's your boy Domination. This is Back in the Basic. Chugging the deuces, I would do text baby man that does back and doing this and this and this and this. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Real woman rise up, fake woman rise down. Front to our preacher, preach on. And today's topic to talk about is the only place you're gonna get it, only place you ever gonna get it is right back in basic. Chugging the deuces, I would do text baby man that does back and doing this and this. Real man rise up, fake man rise down. Real woman rise up, fake woman rise down. Front to our preacher, preach on. And today's topic to talk about is the the term of the black church. The term of the black church or African American church referred to a Christian church that charismatic or culturally having a mixture to predominate a black graduate in the United States. While some black churches belong to the predominantly African American and denounce much as the African Methodist in its church, AMC, AME, AMM, AME. Many black churches are members of predominantly white, predominantly white, noted it, much as the church. I mean, much as the United Church of Christ, which is derived from the rhetoric of Church of New England. New England. So that means they got to go by the British royal family. That's you see that most of the first black graduate in the church had I mean church, okay most the first black graduate in the church formed before 1800s are founded by free blacks. When they say free blacks, their mean is that people who have European blood. That's what they're saying. For example, in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, and Virginia, and Settlement, Georgia, the oldest black Baptist church in in Kentucky, and the third oldest in United States, were founded by 1790 by the slave Peter Dunkendorf. Peter Bunkendorf. See, he's some kind of slave, and he had to be a black person. We'll talk about him in a very second. Okay. After slavery was abolished, a segregation attitude in both the North and the South discouraged and and probably in the South, probably after African Americans from serving in the same church as whites, free blacks. So they in the same churches with the white folks. But even though they keep things separate, even though they integrated now, but they were separated at the time. Free blacks most offered and free blacks most offered this published or graduated, and the churches factory separated from their white neighbors who are offered their former masters. How many times I say this again? There's a real reason why they call them the masters. But because they the co-founders of Freemasonry over there in Scotland. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Now you got Prince Hall Masonry. That's in Boston, right? That's the same place where Tea Party at. Why is it that if Prince Hall was barely real, it's just as much as really important than the whatever that guy's name is, wherever that dude's name is, Prince Hall. How come they don't know his place of birth, where he lived, where he born, and all that? No one knows. Those new Christian, those new church created communities and worship practice that are committed. Okay, hold on. There's new churches created communities and worship practice that are culturally districted from other churches, including indecency and empowered form of the Christianity that creolized an African spiritual tradition. Tradition of African American worship together continued to that during the late 19th century. And continue to this day. And despite the declare of the segregation attitude and the general of acceptance of integrate worship, African Americans churches has long as been the center of the communities and served as a school site in the early years after the Civil War, taking up the social welfare funded much as providing it for its integrate and going on to the to postment schools and orphanments and prison ministers. Much as Rissu, black churches have forced a strong community organization and provide a spiritual and political leadership. Perhaps during the Civil War. Wait a minute. Listen what it says, people. Probably during the Civil Rights Movement. These fuckos right here. Yeah, they still working with whites. Because if that was the case, then why they can't do things on their own? Because they don't believe you can do things on your own. They got to do things for you. So you still like a child to them. And even in the Baptists and the preachers traveled throughout the South. In the Great Awakening of the late 18th centuries, they purportedly directed to slaves. A few hundreds of slaves and government blacks found the opportunity to have actually roll in the new congratulate the probably in the passage church where slaves are appointed as leaders and preachers. Wow. They got to go by directly towards them. They have to answer to somebody. See, that tell you what the black church is what's all about. They are expected from much roles in the artisan or in code with church as they listen to reading slaves to have their own interpretation of the scriptures and found inspiration in the stories of delivered, much as the exodus out of Egypt. Nat Turner, a slave, and the past, Nat Turner, a slave, and Nat Turner, the slave, and the Baptist preacher was inspired to arm rebellious in a uprising that killing about 50 white men and women and children in Virginia. See, this is some scary shit because imagine this stuff happening. I don't want nobody to kill anybody. Not black, not white. White should not kill other whites. Black should not kill other blacks. Or black should not kill whites and white should not kill white. We got to come together because we both been used, both been taken advantage of. Well, we need to start killing and kill directly of the moment of the truth. Kill with kindness and fairness. Now, I understand that you have to fend yourself, but don't get me wrong. Both, but there's a lot of ways to do it. Both free blacks and mortally numbered slaves, and probably in the early black pastors and graduate founded near Petersburg, Virginia, and Nassau, Georgia, and Lexington, Kentucky before 1800. The slave Peter Dunstone and his wife found the first African church, now known as the First African Baptist Church in Lincoln's, Kentucky, 1790s. The church is retreated and posted its first property in 1815. The graduate number about 290 by the first of the next death in 1823. So let me get this straight. It started off from this guy right here. His name is, let's talk about him first. Let's talk about him right now. Peter Duckington, 1733 to 1823. Peter Duckington, 1733, 1823, was all impediment in the record, as a Duckington was a pastor, preacher, and a slave, who with his wife found the first African Baptist Church of Lexington, Kentucky by 1790. By his death, it reached near 300 persons. It is the first black immigrant of the west of the mountain, the first black Baptist graduate in the state, and the third oldest in the United States. In history of church was built in 1856, and the list on the National Register of History place. Let me say to this, man. Slavery is wrong. Now, don't get me wrong. If people would start telling the truth in the first place, I believe in God in a certain extent. But when you use the Bible and how it's divided the people, yeah, I guarantee this is over there in Pennsylvania. So that's where this whole church actually came from. But it says a mountain. A mountain. When you think of mountain, you think of the Caucasus people, right? And out of the hill, a mountain. So that's basically means from the Europeans. Let me say, and let me say to this, man. Peter Douglas said, so it was a white guy discovered this damn church. But it's also said a slave. So his father, okay, here it is. Peter Duckington was born into slavery on the plantation of his white father. So that was his father's after him. Duckington and Duckington of Carolina country, Virginia. He would have to learn a variety of skill from his mother and follow the slaves while in Carolina country. At about age 25, he was awakened to the gospel and began to be acted as a Baptist extra. This was during the first awakening to reveal of the 18th century was the Methodists and the Baptist preachers in the South made many new cover. So slavery, this whole church did started from the whole South, from the black community. See, it goes back to this New England and Jesus Christ and the British American, all this other stuff. But those people got the Knight Templars blood in them. Especially when you look at people from Britain, they started from the banking system, not only from Switzerland, but even in Britain. So that's in the royal families. Look what it says when it says all this. Free blacks. When people say free blacks, what free blacks they're talking about? The 13 colonies and British North Americans in slavery. And it says right here, in the United States of history, a free Negro or free blacks was the legal status in the territory of the United States of a African American person who was not enslaved. The term was used in using before the independence of the 13 colonies and anywhere in Britain, North America, until the abolition of slavery in the United States in 1865, where the recent distribution in variants. So, children that's born to the color-free woman, meaning she mixed between black and white. Mulatto, black and white. Mixed black and white with the Native Americans and all that. Free slave, feed slave, and you feed them and stuff like that. Who can't feed themselves, they got somebody feed for them. And the slaves that who escaped. So they escaped. They got the hell up out of there and went to Brazil and all that. See, this is why you need to know all this goddamn stuff, man. It's sad about this goddamn stuff. What's so sad about it, that this guy, the whole church, but it really was started and inspired an uprising about Ned Turner. Ned Turner, he killed about 50 white men and women and children in Virginia. So he did that. Both free blacks and more numbers of slaves. Okay, I already read this. I read this before. Okay. I read this before. Okay, the first of slave revealed in the early 19th century, including Nat Turner rebellions in 1831. Virginia passed a law during the quitted black legislation to meet only in the pressure of a white minister. White minister. Look how it said it. And other states in familiar with the restrictment of absolutely a black church on the recent of black in the larger group unsurprising visit by whites. Nevertheless, the Black Baptist graduation in the city growing rapidly, and their members numbers of 700 before the Civil War. Seeing the next idol, while mainly led by free blacks. Most of their members are slaves. So they were slaves. They were working with the British people. And it says visible church. In the plantation area, slaves organized an underground church and hidden religion meetings. The visible church. Visible empire. Do that sound familiar, people? That's Ku Klux Klan, a reincarnation of the Knight Templars, where the slaves are free to mix and ethnicity of Christianity with African beliefs and African rhythm. With the time, many in the coup of the Western and medically and gospel and singing and spiritual. The underground churches and provide in the psychological rebuke from the white world. The spiritual give the church members a secret way to community and in some cases to plan rebellion. You know what rebellion means? To get back at the people who did something to them. This is what it says, people. Look what it says. The slaves also learned about Christianity by committee of the servants led by a white pastors or a visit by a white person. Slaveholders and often hold a prayer meeting at the plantation in the South. Till the Great Awakening, most slaveholders are intimate if they practice any Christianity. All through in the early of the first Great Awakening, and meditate and passive preaching, preachers argue for the emancipation of slaves and abolishment by the early declare of the 19th century. They offer find a way to support the situation in setting where whites separate vision, worship, and prayer. They use the Bible stories that to reinforce the people to keep to the place in the society. Usually the slaves to be loyal and obey to their master. You see what I'm talking about? Let me say it again. It used using slaves to be loyal. To use a slave to be loyal, it used a slave to be loyal and debate to their master. Look what it says. It used the slaves to be loyal and to be obey their master. Look what it says in the 19th centuries. And the pastors of the chapter was founded around many of the small communities and common plenty during the early declaration of the 19th century. They used stories much as the curse of Ham and to justify the slavery to themselves. They promote the idea that the loyal and the hardworking slave would be rewarded in afterlife. That's the most stupid shit I ever heard. Sometimes slaves and embellishment for their own Sabbath schools to talk about the scriptures. Slaves who are reading or trying to teach each other to read and Frederick Douglass did while still enslavement as a young man in Maryland. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm talking about, people? This bullshit. Look what it says again. I'm gonna read this to you again. Look what it says during the early declare of the 19th century. They used stories to deposit their own Sabbath schools to talk about the scriptures. Slaves who are readily or trying to teach each other to read, as Frederick Douglass did while still enslavement as a young man in Maryland. Y'all need to wake up because religion fucked up, man. This is why I don't fuck with religion. Because it got to be some bullshit what's been taught. Let me tell you something about the curse of Ham. It sounds like to me that Noah was the one that molested his own grandson and make his son to be servant to his brothers. It's mean in Japan and Shem. It don't make no fucking sense. They trying to say that Ham was molested his own, having sex with his own father. That's the most bullshit that I've ever heard. Some people say that Ham was having sex with Noah's wife. That means the child adultery. Child abuse and commit adultery. That's what that curse of Ham is about. It had nothing to do between blacks and whites. People need to quit buying into that bullshit. I don't believe none of these Europeans are saying because they're lying. They don't want to tell the truth. And you think, and some of our people be lying about that damn story. Look what it says about this curse of Ham. To be slave, their master. That's the most dumbest shit I ever heard. Look what it says. Much as the curse of Ham to justify the slavery to themselves, they promote the idea that loyal and hardworking slave should be rewarded in afterlife. Sometimes slaves and postulate their own Sabbath schools to talk about the scriptures, and slaves who are related to trying to teach each other to read, as Frederick Douglass did while still enslaving a young man in Maryland. Maryland. Wow, look what it says. Maryland. So if they were still slaving him, he was not able to learn how to teach and read and write. That don't make no damn sense, man. That whole slavery shit is so bullshit. It's basically we can't afford to speak of the Indo-European language. We're part of the same family with these people, and to this day, they'll still deny it. They'll say it wasn't. Bullshit. They talking about free slaves. All this mixed with black and Native American, and some of them feeding slaves. They can't feed themselves. They got to feed things for them, and other ones to escape. You see how far they go, and they went to Brazil. They went back to Africa. This is what I'm talking about. Look how it says right here. Free blacks in both Northerners and the Southerners cities and form of their own gradually and the church before the end of the 18th century. They organized in the independent black graduate and the church to practice its religion apart from the white overseas, along with the white church and postment to slavery. Free blacks in Pennsylvania, free blacks in free blacks in free blacks in Philadelphia, free blacks in Philadelphia, free blacks in Philadelphia provide add to the confirmed to slaves who escaped and helping all the new arrived adjustment to the city life. Y'all need to look this up, man. Y'all need to look this stuff up. Y'all need to look this up because it just don't make any fucking sense. It really don't, because all religion is about is promote the idea to get black people to serve whites and whites to being served by blacks. You see how bullshit that is. But how can our people be enslaved but the Europeans been enslaved also? But who slaved the Slavic people? Is it because it got something to do with the fucking Moors that our people slaved them? We'll never know. Or it's the Mongols. Because Mongols, who the reincarnation of the Mongols? The Japanese people, the Chinese people. Where do you think the Chinese triad and the Japanese triad came from? I'm going to tell you what's really sad. What do you think Booty is? Booty is descendants from the goddamn Mongols. Why do you think there's so much tension between blacks and whites? We're being lied to. We're being lied to. Look what it says. Look what it says, people. And it got something to do with Nat Turner rebellion to get back at white folks because white folks was out there and brutalized people, mistreating people, miseducation people, and beating them people, so they getting right back at them. That's a Nat Turner in 1831. That's in Virginia. Yeah, for it won't happen to the Europeans. For Europeans, y'all should have never came up this scientific racism in the fucking first place. And look what it done. Look what y'all made into. I don't want to slave anybody, but man, it just goes to show you. It goes to show you who controlled this shit. It goes to show you that we're being lied to. The curse of Ham. All curse of Ham was it got something to do with dark skin. No. The curse of Ham is the misleading for the curse upward of Canaan that was imposed by the Biblist of patriot Noah and narrated of club in the book of Genesis. You know, Genesis, it means Genesis in the seed of genes, and concerned the Noah and drunkenness and the recoverness of the shame enacted and probably by his son Ham, the father of Canaan, generate 9.20 and 27, and the controversy raised by the story to revelate the nature of Ham and transgression. And the question is, why Noah cursed Canaan, and when Ham had sinned, that no, it should have been said Noah had sinned. And Ham was being framed. He was innocent. Had been debated for over the 200 years. It is bullshit. Look how they told this story. The original adjustment was to justify the subjectness of Canaan to the Israels, but later in the centuries, the narrative was interpreted by some Jews, Christianity, and Muslims as the explanation for the black skin as well as slavery. See, they're responsible for all the fucking deaths for the shit they did. And you know y'all wrong. And nevertheless, most Christianity indeed note, and all Islamic, the Jewish in this noted, now and strongly in disagree with the subsequent interruption, interpretation during the fact that the Bible in text, Ham himself is not cursed. No. And The race or the skin is never mentioned. You got that right. That's the most biggest fucking lies I ever fucking heard in my life. It don't make no damn sense. Because they're the real reason why all the deaths of Emmett Till and all the rest of the bullshit, these damn pacified, these pastors of the church, that make people do not want to believe in God in the first place. But I see why men don't want to go. They're like, man, this is bullshit. This story that we hear, you need to question it. And the content of the curse of Ham, finding its origin in Genesis narrator. Look what it says. Noah began to be a husband. He planted a yard. I mean, he planned something for the yard to spend time for his family and get together so they can do something great for the family. And he drinking of the wine and was drunk in it. And he went uncovered within his tent. He went to bed. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his two breathless without, means he told his two brothers, and Shem and Japheth, take a gathering and cover up both their shoulders and went backward. They didn't want to see that. They cover their eyes. They covered up. They covered up their eyes. They had to cover up the sheets and cover. They saw it too. The cover of the nakedness of their fathers, and their faces are backwards and they do not saw their father's nakedness. What they saying, they saw their father having sex with their own damn nephew. Their own nephew, man. This has happened right now. If they would have started telling this damn story, slavery should have never happened in the first place. Somebody better start telling the truth, because I am sick and tired of hearing people say, well, slavery. What does slavery means? Slavery basically means Slavic. It means strip or stain an enemy. But it also means anybody who speaks the same language or foreign language, they understood for each other. Meaning that whites, Asians, blacks, everybody went through slavery. But because we don't understand our foreign language brothers and sisters, that's why we're disconnected off of this planet. That's why you see so much wars. This is why you see the things that's going on in the Middle East and things going on in Africa, Asia, and Europe. All this fighting they doing. And then Australia on top of that. Come on. And the cold in South America, North America, it don't make no damn sense. They out there fighting because we ain't down with religion. When you say something about Islam, they're gonna hurt you. But if you say something about Israel, they're gonna hurt you too. It don't make no sense. But if you go invade in Europe, invade in Africa, invade in Asia, there's gonna be some fighting going on. I tell you, I see why there's so much problems. I see why white people being conditioned the way they've been taught, the things they see in the image. And yeah, you gotta watch out certain people nowadays. I can understand why they do that. And that's every other race. But it's stupid to me. Why I want to hate any other race of people, even if they don't look identified or look dedication, who have the same view as like me or not? We got to stop fighting each other, man. Because we need to read what's in the Bible been said until we get the clear, real truth, what it meant. Okay, backwards, when they did not saw their father's nakedness. Noah woke up with his wine, and he knew what his younger son had done towards him. He said, cursed be Canaan, and serve and servants shall be unto his brethren. He said, blessed be the Lord, blessed be the Lord of God of Shem, and Canaan shall be servant. But it should be Noah should be servant, because Noah went up there and did something wrong and molested his own grandson. And Ham saw that, what his grandfather did to his own grandson. And God shall larger of Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tent of Shem. And Canaan shall be the servant. Meaning that when you done something wrong, they make you punish and think about all the things. You need to think about what you've done, for you can do right. But it should be Noah was the one need to be cursed, because look how it sounds. It sounds like their grandfather molesting Ham. That's what it sounds like. But it sounds like he wanted drunk on his wickedness, so he went to his son's room and molested him. So that means Ham is the father of Canaan. So Ham had a son named Canaan, because it couldn't be Noah. Look how I said it. See, they were responsible for this. For this story that been told, it was about the child nest abuse and Camille adultery. Look how I said it. And Noah was a married man. He had nothing to do with no damn dark skin and slavery. These bastards are sitting up there lying right in our face, and we didn't know all this whole time. The Ku Klux Klan are the original Knight Templars anyway. I said, look at their damn symbols. They're telling you right in their fucking face, and we don't even know this, because how could we be that stupid? How could be I'm that stupid? Don't even know. I didn't even know until I look it up. And Frederick Douglass, free blacks. They're going to pay for this. The people in power, they're going to fucking pay for the shit they do from the damn church been taught, so they still worship whites. Look what it says of the black church. And the whites are being served by, whites are getting servants from blacks. Blacks are getting blacks to serve the whites. Ain't that a flip? Ain't that a flip? But that's just my commentary, man. There you have it, people. Give me your comments and give me your video response and tell me what you think of this video. It's your boy Domination. This is Back of the Basics. Juggler Deuces. I'll be the text baby. Until next time. All right. Peace. I'm out. All right. Peace.